Hello and welcome back to More Than a Score, presented by Dubuque Bank and Trust. I'm Brenden West. I will be your host today. I'm joined here by Andrew Thill. We got a jam-packed issue coming up, so let's get right to it. Andrew's been covering some ultimate frisbee out in Madison. Andrew, talk to me a little bit about the Dubuque connection there, because there's it's really interesting, the backstory.
Yeah, two of the players for the Radicals this year are from Dubuque. Matt Weber joined the team last year, so he played there last year. But this year the Radicals added Julian Gallo. He was under Matt Weber's wing, kind of developed his skill a little bit with them, and played with Matt Weber on his travel team. So adding Julian to their lineup really helps them defensively, and they're looking to the Dubuque market to add some seat selling points and sell some tickets for championship weekend. Some fans might know that championship weekend is in Dubuque, or is in Madison this summer, August 6th and 7th, and Madison is looking to the Dubuque market to sell some seats and get some apparel in the Dubuque area. So Matt and Julian will be really good and key players and help making that happen.
Awesome. Now, you were telling me earlier that we actually the Ultimate Frisbee Final Four, is it? It's going to actually be televised on ESPN. Talk to me about that a little bit and how exciting that is.
Yeah, ESPN3 does all the Final Four weekend. That's what championship weekend is. It's essentially a tournament. The best of the best come for the weekend. They all play in Madison this year. It's a traveling thing too, so a lot of the players go back and forth. Last year was in San Jose. The year before it was in Toronto, and then it was just kind of all over the place, really. So I know they're looking to sell a lot of seats from this year particularly. Breese Stevens Field is the home of the Radicals, and that stadium capacity is at 4,000. So they're looking to sell out that whole stadium for the weekend.
Awesome, awesome. Well, there's your Dubuque connection to Ultimate Frisbee. For those of you wondering where our normal host, Steve Ortman, is, he's been pretty busy. He's in the throes of golf season, but he still wanted to make his appearance here. Steve, how you doing?
Hi, thanks guys. I didn't want to miss out this week's episode, but I've been stuck down here in what we like to call the morgue, our archives. We got all these old newspapers down here, what we keep on file. I'm doing a little research for myself this week. I'm trying to go through all these papers, find the last time Steve Ortman did not have an A+ stone cold killer of a story in the paper. It's been a long process. I'm probably going to take the next couple of weeks to try to find that one. But there's a lot of exciting things going on in the golf scene this past week, so I wanted to make sure I got myself on this episode, even though I'm incredibly busy down here. But you look at, there was a couple of conference meets this past week. You had Dubuque Senior and Dubuque Wahlert playing up at the Meadows for the Mississippi Valley Conference Divisional meets, and Maddie Hawkins won the Valley Divisional for the second year in a row. That means she has now won the Valley Divisional 2 years in a row and the MVC Super Meet 2 years in a row. So she's having an incredible run here the last couple seasons. I talked to her and caught up with her after she won the meet, so let's go to the footage.
Started off really good. The front nine was good, and then I kind of lost it actually at the end of the back nine, but I guess I brought it together at the end.
You mentioned a couple high scores there towards the home stretch. You know, what's key to being able to kind of get out of that funk and get out of those tough stretches?
You just gotta stay in the present, and like if you do something bad, just let it be behind you and keep focused on what you need to be doing right now. So that helped me today.
All right, so that was Maddie Hawkins talking about her big win out there at the Meadows, and also Dubuque Hempstead. They're out of town down in Cedar Rapids. They won their second straight Mississippi Divisional Championship, and Hempstead's been having a really good year as well. So a lot of exciting golf here going on in the area. And also, you talk about area golfers, you're looking at Western Dubuque. They won the WAMAC Conference Championship out at Timberline on their home course in Piasta. Lauren Preer, a senior, she won the medalist honors with an 85. Her teammate Quinn Herbst was runner-up. So a lot of great golf action going on around here. I talked to Lauren after she won the WAMAC Championship. Here's what she had to say. Your senior year here, you've made it down to the state meet 3 years in a row. You're going for 4. How exciting would it be to cap off your career here with another trip to state?
Oh my gosh, it'd be amazing. Words would not explain it at all. I want to go to state so bad. I know my whole team wants to, but I think we can do it if we keep playing with a great attitude and make sure we don't psych each other out. So.
Oh, okay, we're back, and so that was what Lauren Preer had to say about her win. So basically, just wanted to make sure I got on this episode, even though I can't be in the studio with you fellas. Just wanted to make sure I got on, gave you an update about all the exciting golf action we have going on here in the tri-state area. So that's going to do it for me. I got a lot of work to do down here, lots of stories to read through, a lot of good Steve Ortman stories to read through. So we'll throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Steve-O, and we look forward to getting you back up in the office once you're done digging through all those archives there. You know, to wrap things up, we got another busy guy here, Jim Leitner, the big guy, the sports editor, has been knee-deep in Dubuque Fighting Saints coverage. So, Jim, obviously this was a really exciting week for us.
It was, yeah. The Fighting Saints on Tuesday night, they wrapped up the series in the Eastern Conference Final. They defeated the Bloomington Thunder 3-0 in a decisive Game 5. The second season in a row that they played a Game 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and last year they weren't so successful, and this year they pulled it off. But it was a great victory for them, and now they're on to the Clark Cup Finals.
Awesome, awesome. What would you say has been the key to this postseason run? Obviously, every year in hockey, it seems like somebody's sort of stepping up. So can you think of anybody in particular who's just really stepped up their game?
Well, I think the real difference in this series was the scoring depth. The Fighting Saints have a better, more deep lineup than Bloomington had. And that was really evident in Game 5 because the 3 goal scorers were guys who scored their first goal of the playoffs. Casey Johnson scored the first goal for the Fighting Saints. Then Zach Solo got an insurance goal, and Andrew Kerr got the third goal. So those are all guys who had their first goals of the playoffs. And actually for Andrew Kerr, he's more of a steady defensive defenseman. This was the first goal that he scored in the 2 seasons that he's been here. So it was a pretty cool thing for him to score that goal. His teammates mobbed him at the end of the game, so that was pretty cool. But the depth was the key, and the other thing was on Tuesday night's game especially was Hunter Miska, excuse me, the goaltender, really stood on his head and had a great game, and I mean he was the difference there. 25 saves he made, and he made a lot of spectacular saves that kept the game at 0-0. So those were 2 of the big keys. And actually after the game we talked to Hunter Miska and got these comments from him.
Yeah, I felt great tonight. I had a good morning skate this morning with Millsy, our goalie coach, and Castor. I had to sharpen up on a few things that I felt like I needed to work on a little bit, and hitting my spots and being a little bit more comfortable in the crease. And I thought that was a big help for tonight, and our guys played great.
Now the Dubuque Fighting Saints look forward to the Clark Cup Final. They'll be playing the Tri-City Storm here on Friday. Jim, have you had a chance to look forward to that and that 5-game series, and what do we got here?
It's going to be a really good series. I think it's going to be a lot like the Green Bay series that the Fighting Saints faced in the first round of the playoffs. They're a big team, they're a heavy team, physical team, and they play very well defensively. So it should be a really entertaining series. Fortunately, the Fighting Saints have home ice advantage again based on the regular season record. Games 1 and 2 will be here in Dubuque. Games 3 and 4 will be in Tri-City, and then if there is a need for a Game 5, it would be the following Tuesday, also back here in Dubuque. But the teams played 2 times during the regular season and split, but both of those games were in Kearney, Nebraska. The Fighting Saints lost the first game, but they came back and won the second one. So, and that was back in January, so I don't know if you can really take too much out of that. But it should be a very entertaining series because both teams are playing very well right now.
Well, we got some more good hockey to look forward to. And Jim, you've been busy elsewhere off the rink. Why don't you talk a little bit about this week's banquet and just sort of what it sort of means to the sports department?
Yeah, this weekend on Monday night we actually hosted the TH Media Athlete of the Week banquet. Basically what we did was we had all the winners from the past year, or as many of them could fit it into their schedule, met at the Dubuque, the Diamond Joe Casino, and we had a nice little banquet. The guest speaker was Eric Munson. He's a former Major League Baseball player who runs a baseball academy here in Dubuque, and it's a really neat opportunity for all the athletes to get together and for us to shine the spotlight on them one more time. Yeah. I think we had 30-some winners out of about the 40 or 45 that won it over the course of the last year. It's tough because it's I don't think there's ever really a good time of the year to have this where it doesn't conflict with spring schedules or anything, but it was a real nice night and a real nice dinner and banquet, and it was a pretty cool opportunity for us.
Awesome. Well, that about does it here for us at More Than the Score, presented by Dubuque Bank and Trust. We've got ultimate frisbee, hockey, golf, track, athletes galore. What a jam-packed issue. We're going to keep giving it to you week in, week out. I'm Brenden West. This is Jim Leitner for Andrew Thill and for Steve Ortman. Thanks for watching.